Hi kids, we're going to be doing a cityscape using watercolor paper, liquid watercolors, a Sharpie, and a few brushes. So I've got my primary colors plus violet and black. Primary colors are blue, yellow, and red. I'm going to draw in a cityscape, so just try to remember when you might have visited a big city at nighttime and the big skyscrapers that you saw. And I'm just going to start drawing some shapes that come all the way down to the bottom of the paper. You can think about some interesting rooftops and some interesting architectural details. Some buildings will be taller than others. You might even have some overlap. This one's in front, so it's closer to me. You can draw as many buildings as you want to. I'm just leaving plenty of sky space so I can have some beautiful colors up here in the sky. And a moon. Now I'm going to draw in some windows and doors. I'm just using my imagination and thinking of some just interesting shapes to add to my buildings. Big windows, little windows. If you have big windows, your building's going to look smaller. If you have little tiny windows, your building will look much larger. That's called scale. If you have an ultra fine Sharpie, you could come in and do a lot of little tiny details, but I'm just going to leave it right where it is. I think I like what I see, and I'm going to dip my big brush in the water, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of black. It is watercolor, so I want to add water to it, and I'm just going to push that pigment around, and I'm going to start painting all my buildings gray. I'm going to go around some of these windows so I can come back later and paint them yellow, so it looks like my city is alive. Now I'm just dipping my brush into the water and using what I have left as far as pigment goes, and I'm getting a lighter shade of gray. So depending on how much water to pigment you use will determine how dark your gray is, or black. If you don't use any water, you're going to have black. If you use a lot of water, you're going to have a really light gray. I'm still using my big brush, but if you're more comfortable with a smaller brush, no worries. Use what's comfortable for you. I do like using a flat brush when I'm working with angles. Now I'm filling in with a smaller brush. See how many different shades of gray you can get in your city. Now, if you want to, you can paint your buildings different colors, but I chose the gray so it really shows off the colors in the sky. These are called values. I have several different values of gray now. This is my darkest so far. So to get that dark value, I'm using very little water. Okay, I'm going to give this a few minutes to dry. I just want to make sure that when I start painting my sky that the gray doesn't start to run into it. So I'll just take a minute to clean my brushes really good and give them a paper towel test. Just by gently dabbing them on a paper towel, I can tell if they're clean. Okay, now that I've got a very clean brush, I'm going to paint some water on one section of the sky, and then I'm going to add some yellow. You can add any color you want to, but you have to be a little bit careful here about what colors you mix. So think it through. I'm going to put a little bit of yellow over here too. And I like painting wet into wet, so that's why I paint the water first and then just kind of drop the color in. You get some really cool effects. Now, blue and yellow make green, right? So I'm not afraid of that. You can even splatter a little bit by gently tapping your brush. Don't throw your brush, but you can tap it a little. I'm bringing some blue in. I'm going to bring it all the way down to the horizon. And I can paint a little bit of water too to blend those two colors together if I want. Putting some violet in. Be careful with violet and yellow. If you mix them up too much, it's gonna turn brown. So just be really minimalistic about it. Don't do too much blending here. Just drop the color in and just let it go and move on. I'm gonna put some violet over here too. Again, I'm using plenty of water, but not too much because I want some good saturated color here. Red and violet make a violet red when they come together. And red and yellow make a nice orange. There's that orange. I'm just having fun here with the colors. I'm putting color down on the white of the paper, letting it blend into the adjacent colors, but I'm not mixing the colors together too much. Maybe just right on the edge where they meet. I'm just going to dab some of these areas where I got some puddling, but just very gently. I don't want to pull the color off. I just want to kind of absorb some of that extra water. There we go. Now for the yellow windows, using my small brush. That's it. Sign it. Good job, guys. See you next time.